Hey guys, welcome back. This is Dr. Marva and today I'll be talking about how proning works in COVID-19. I know that your WhatsApp is full of so many videos on awake proning that you would be saying what's new about it. But I want to highlight some important points related to this strategy. And the first and the foremost is that this does not work in mild cases of COVID-19. Yes, this strategy of awake proning works only in moderate to severe cases. Why not in mild cases? Because the lungs are already compliant. This strategy has been documented to work in non-compliant lungs, that means moderate to severe stage or stage 2B in COVID-19 has already been attained. Just to prove this point, I have this research article in which in yellow I have highlighted, and let me just read out before you that awake prone positioning appears to be safe and can slow the respiratory deterioration only in selected cases of COVID-19 who require oxygen supplementation. For those of you who are medical students, if you get a question in the exam that beyond how much FiO2 would you go in for awake proning, then remember the value of 28%. I reiterate the statement, if of FiO2 of the patient, the oxygen requirement per se is more than 28%, that is when this strategy will work. Now I'll be teaching you three simple reasons how it will work, the mechanisms. The first and the foremost being that the proning will reduce the compression of the dorsal lung. If you look at the CT image, this where my cursor at the moment is the left ventricle, this is the right ventricle, and the weight of the heart is actually compressing this dorsomedial lung segment. And remember, the lungs are already inflamed. This patient is having a non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema. At the moment there is substantial lung damage and some part of the lung is not able to contribute to the oxygenation. Now if I flip the patient over, the moment I turn the patient over, you will notice two things are going to happen. First, the weight of the heart will be taken by the sternum, and second, you can see that the compression of the medial lung segment represented in green in supine versus the prone position is relatively lesser in prone, and therefore you have is an improvement of oxygen saturation after a couple of minutes. The second thing is slightly more technical. We call it strain distribution with positional change. Let's delve into this a little deeper. When the patient is in supine position, this where color blue is represented is relatively less blood supply. The red is representing more blood supply. That's mainly because of the gravity, that when the patient is lying supine, the dorsal part of the lung will be having relatively more blood supply. But this more blood supply will not translate into better oxygen saturation, primarily because the inflamed, damaged lung, this posterior segments, the dorsal segments are squished and compressed. However, the moment you flip over the patient, compare over the next couple of minutes, where my cursor is at the moment, you can see that there is an improvement in the surface area of the alveoli that were initially squished and compressed. Because you're having more surface area available, now this blood supply will definitely ensure a better oxygen saturation, and you have already seen that in so many of your patients. The third and the foremost is relatively easy, and this is what I teach to my non-medicos who are approaching me for treatment or rather advice with respect to management of COVID-19, chest cage morphology. You see the ribs which are present posteriorly are flat, the ribs which are present anteriorly are curved. Our lungs have this very interesting property, and this interesting property is referred as conformational shape matching. It means that lungs are very flexible. They can actually take or adapt or adopt any particular shape. If you're gonna place a patient in supine position, the ribs are gonna be positioned against the non-compliant or less compliant part of the chest. You can see that the area that is marked as green here, the anterior part of the ribs or the anterior part of the chest is curved, so there is relatively more space in the chest cavity. I did not say more space in the lungs this time. I said more space in the chest cavity, and lungs are very adaptive. They conform to the space that is available. Since you're having more space, the lungs will be having the luxury of rather expanding relatively better. So there are three reasons as I explained. One is the squishing of the lung. When a person is supine, especially the dorsomedial segments, that is going to be reduced when you flip the patient over. Second is the technical statement that I made, that is strain distribution, and the third one is what you can explain to non-medicos, chest case morphology. Now I'll handle some important questions that I have highlighted in this discussion. When does awake proning in a suspect or confirmed case of COVID-19 work? Any patient with FiO2 requirement of more than 28%, this is on. Does proning work in ARDS? Yes, absolutely it works in ARDS. Actually, this concept has been extrapolated from the ARDS data itself, because we have documented in clinical studies that proning reduces the mortality in ARDS by 50%. That's a huge value. I mean, supine patient of ARDS ventilated, prone patient of ARDS ventilated, the mortality rate changes from 32% to 16%. That's a substantial 50% reduction. And the same concept was extrapolated to moderate to severe cases before they go into ARDS state. Now, how is awake proning different from proning in ARDS? Obviously, one is that a patient is awake versus a patient has been knocked out using sedatives and neuromuscular blocking agents. But the duration of proning in ARDS can be anywhere between 12 to 16 hours, and you need very expert nursing care, especially when you are flipping the patient over, because there can be a possible extubation of the patient. In awake proning, the duration will vary. The initial proning episodes can be anywhere between 30 minutes to 120 minutes. The point that I'm making is that if a person is having centripetal obesity, like a lot of our diabetic patients are having a big tummy, a centripetal obesity, so they may not be so comfortable, especially if you place them in prone position for 2 hours. So in all these WhatsApp videos where they're going to show a comfortable patient, mild patient flipping over, it's a different issue. But when you are asking a patient, a moderate to severe, who's already having breathlessness, to turn over, it takes a lot of motivation on your part to convince the patient to do the task. Awake proning is useful for which of the three scenarios? As I said, moderate onwards. It is moderate, severe, and then obviously ARDS cases. Is there a risk to healthcare worker? The article says a very surprising fact, and I noticed this in a lot of my relatives and patients, that when I was turning them prone, they were having relatively more cough. He says that when you turn the patient over, there is a better gravitational dependent secretion or clearance of the lung secretions, which is relatively better. So the patient will cough and there would be more aerosol production. And obviously you have taken adequate production, but you should anyway be aware of aerosol generating procedures. Like nebulization is something that can generate a lot of aerosol. Using a Bain circuit in resuscitation of these patients can generate a lot of aerosol. Similarly, proning definitely increases the risk to healthcare worker in a sense that it generates more aerosol and has been documented in clinical studies. So these are a couple of facts, the technical ones, which I wanted you to be aware of over and above your routine knowledge base, which is substantially wide, and I know that you're taking very good care of your patients. Thank you so much for your patience and hearing me out.